Hi, today's woman of the Bible is Jochebed. You may have heard of her. She was only mentioned twice in the Bible, but her legacy is huge in all of Israel and even down for today. Jochebed had 3 children, Aaron and Moses and Miriam. We're not exactly sure what order they came in, but probably Miriam was the oldest, and then Aaron, and then Moses was probably the youngest. And her story comes at the same time as Puna and Shiphrah, the midwives, at the very same time when Pharaoh was commanding that all the baby boys be killed. Now, we don't know much about Jochebed, and yet we do know a lot. She must have been a very godly woman. Number one, she was not willing to give up her son. She was a normal mother. She loved her child, and she was not about ready just to hand over a child. And so she thought of some things and finally came upon the solution that she's going to build a little boat and put him in the water and just see what happens. It's better for him to be eaten probably by a crocodile than for her to watch a soldier come to her house and take him. She also sent Miriam out to watch him. She must have trusted Miriam a little bit, not to make a scene, to keep the secret and all that. It would have been hard to have trusted your 8-10-year-old daughter with such an important secret, with the life of a child. It would have been hard. But Jochebed probably realized that she didn't have very many options, and she was going to do everything she could. So we see that the princess came and found Moses, and Miriam quickly asked if he wanted a nurse, which was very common in the Egyptian time for the moms to have a wet nurse for the baby. And so Jochebed got to mother her own child for the first 3 or 4 years. They didn't wean them very early back then. And so for the first 3 or 4 years, and we know today from studies that the first 6 years of your child's life is the most important. That's when they learn all the basics and everything that they will build on for the rest of their life is when they're young. So you know what? God honored Jochebed's sacrifice. He honored her sacrifice by letting her instill values and traditions into him of the Hebrew people. I think that was a lot of the reason that Moses was so attached to his people that we figure out later. Even if he spent most of his growing up years as an Egyptian, those first 3 or 4 years of his life stuck and gave him a foundation that he came back to later on in his life. And we see that even though Jochebed gave up so much, that sacrifice enabled Moses to live and later lead his children, God's children, out of Egypt. You know, if she wasn't giving her all and doing her very best to be the mom she was supposed to be, it would have never happened. You know, it's hard to be a mom. A mom has a lot of jobs, and there's a lot of sacrificing. A mom's whole life pretty much is sacrificing. And there's a lot of people out there that's not willing to sacrifice. It's too hard to sacrifice. But you know what? If we want our children to do what's right, we want them to be used of God, and we want to give them the best life possible, that means as moms, we have to sacrifice. We have to do the hard things. We have to be the, quotes, mean mommy when we discipline and we make rules and regulations and schedules that help to structure a child in the right way. And one thing for us moms in this hard times that helps us to do the hard things is to be close to God. You know, the closer to God we are, the better mom we can be. So if we want to give our children the very best that we can possibly give them, then we need to make sure we're close to Jesus ourselves and that we're following Jesus. Because without Jesus, we kind of mess up and make a miserable job of it. We've seen that plenty of times in the world. The world doesn't need any more. So you, mom, you make it a priority to to cultivate your relationship with Jesus and to grow in the Word and to grow closer to Jesus so that you can raise children that will be of value to society and that God can use in His kingdom. Look at Moses. Moses led the children of Israel. We know so much about Moses. He wrote part of the Bible, all because one mom was intent and focused on giving her child everything she could in the few short years that she had him. So I would encourage all moms, be a Jochebed. Do everything you can to give your child what they need to be successful in life, and most of all, to love God. Show them how to love God. Show them how to search the Scriptures. Show them how to have a relationship with Jesus. Show them what it's like to have Jesus living inside of you as the Holy Spirit. That is your job as a mom and your contribution to society. Go be great, moms. You have a great job to do, and God gave you those children because He knew you could do it. Love y'all.